Hi guys, greetings from Bulgaria. I am Anton, and in today's video we're going to discuss additional test cases to master authentication testing with Selenium. Let's check what we're going to talk about. First, I have prepared some examples how to overcome and bypass CAPTCHA. This is we'll discuss what is CAPTCHA and how to create automated tests that are bypassing. Then we're going to automate the Remember Me button. We're going to discuss how this works, and we're going to create one more automated test. Then it's really important for the stability of your automated test to understand how we can create users using web APIs. And we're going to automate our demo app where we'll use these users to create tests regarding the update of profile. Then when we have these new users, we're going to test the reset password functionality, and we are going to integrate a third-party service for checking the emails and getting the links from there. Then it's really important for you to master authentication testing to faster login and bypass the login using cookies or other mechanisms. So we're going to see that in action too. Last but not least, we're going to check how to create a comprehensive test, testing the registration form, and later activating the user, again integrating this third-party mail service solution. And it's really important to understand two-factor authentication, what this is, how it works, and actually how it's possible to automate this. So, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit the ring bell so that you get notified when new awesome videos are published each week. Also check the Awesome One the Test blog for many detailed articles discussing all of the problems related to automated testing. And in the links below, you will find the GitHub repo with all of the code examples. Also, you're going to be able to download the demo app that we're going to use. If you missed some of the previous videos regarding single sign-on and passwordless login, please check them. And also, I will put some related resources there that will be useful to you. Again, find them in the description below. So let's get started and discuss what is CAPTCHA. And if you have watched some of the previous videos, I have developed this demo website that contains different methods for login, registering, etc. You can basically, it's open source. It's developed on Node.js, so it's portable. You just need to install Node.js. Also, it's pretty simple. We have one server.js that describes all of the web API endpoints, and then in the HTML using JavaScript, we're calling these server endpoints, for example, to requesting the profile, to verify the SMS codes, to send activation links, etc. Again, you can it's fully open source. You can play with it. You just need for example, in order to run the demos with single sign-on or the SMS and email integrations, you need to enable those services and add the secret keys here in .environment file. So, in this video, the first thing that I'm going to show you is actually how to bypass this CAPTCHA. But first, what is CAPTCHA? There is a dedicated video on the channel that I created in the past. It's really detailed. I suggest you to check it. You can find it in the links below. But let me quickly remind you what this is. CAPTCHA stands for Completely Automated Public Turing Test to Tell Computers and Humans Apart. And I know that it's long. And it's a type of challenge response test used to ascertain whether the user is a human or a bot. And the primary purpose of CAPTCHA is to prevent bots or automated programs from using various types of computing services or collecting certain types of sensitive information, such as email addresses, phone numbers, etc. And here I have used, as you can see, this sign, 𝑨𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏. 𝑨𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏 is a captcha system that enables web hosts to distinguish between human and automated access to websites. It's free service from Google, and it's very widely used nowadays since it supports all major screen readers. It has a few versions, version 2 and version 3. Here I have used version 2. Basically, in 𝑨𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏 version 2, you can put the side key and the secret key, also known as test keys. And these keys, they help in bypassing the captcha verification requests. As a result, your automation case can run seamlessly. Basically, when you check it, you verify that you're not a bot. Also, here in this first scenario, we are going to automate this regular login. As you can see here, we have this input. We can find it by ID. We can do the same for the password. Later on, we are going to automate this remember me and see how it works. And then instead of clicking here, if we search, you will notice that we have a special bypass. As you can see, we have this hidden input in the HTML, this hidden input by captcha bypass, and we need to set a special key here for the value. And this is how our backend understands that we need to bypass the captcha. Let's see how this works. So we have this endpoint login. And in our main.js, if we see, here is the login form that we are posting. As you can see here, we have subscribed to this event listener. We are finding all of the fields, and we extract all of the values that we need to pass to the server. And basically, we are getting this text area reCAPTCHA response in order to send it to Google, but also we send this captcha bypass value. And if you look into the server, you will notice that we have here a special GUID. And if we set this particular GUID to the value, we're going to bypass the captcha. Of course, this is an approach that should be used carefully, and this if here should be there only for your test environment. You should not deploy such code to your production environment because it may there might be a security risk. And then this is the regular code by Google. You can check their documentation, how to implement the captcha. This is what I did here. So let's see how this works. Also, since if you download the source code and if you load the website, it will run on localhost 300. However, in order the captcha to work, you need a special domain. In order to make this work on my local machine, in the localhost file on my Windows, I said that when we load localhost, please redirect to this dummy domain 𝑨𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏.local. And this is what I registered in the this captcha settings on the Google website. And so again, you can download all this source code from the links below. But here I created a regular Selenium JUnit setup in the POM XML. If you are not familiar with JUnit, I suggest to check the resources below. There is a full series of JUnit videos on the Lambda Test channel. And so I installed all of the JUnit dependencies. Also, I installed Selenium WebDriver, one of the latest versions, And for backward compatibility, I'm still using the WebDriver manager, but from if you are using 4.10 or above of Selenium WebDriver, you can use the built-in Selenium manager for browser management and the driver management, and this will download automatically for you all the drivers. Later on, I will tell you other dependencies that I installed, but for now, the thing that we do is that we have this authentication test class. We basically download every time the Chrome driver before all of the tests for the test suite. Then before each test is executed, we are saying that we want to ignore all of HTTPS errors. Since I haven't installed any certificate for my localhost demo website. And then we are starting Chrome, we are maximizing it. And then in order to test the login, what I do here is that we navigate to 𝑦𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏, which is our website. We click on the login tab, which is this thing here. Then again, by ID, as I showed you, we're finding the username or the email. We type one of our test users, that it's basically, it's part of our in-memory database. Then we type the password of this user, we check the remember me checkbox, and then we click login. But before that, as you can see, we have this bypass captcha private method. And if I navigate to it, what we do here, first we find this field input captcha bypass. Then we cast the driver to JavaScript executor. As you know, with Selenium we can execute JavaScript. Since there isn't a method directly to set the value attribute, and this is the thing that we need. This is the JavaScript to this argument 0 means that we are going to set the value for this particular method that we found above. And then the second argument is basically our special GUID that I showed you in the server code. This is how we are going to set this value of the hidden input. Even if it's not there, you cannot use send keys. And if we return, this is the only thing that I need. When we click the button, the form will be submitted with the JavaScript of the front end. And then on the server, we are going to ignore the captcha because we submitted this hidden input with the GUID. After that, we are just, in all of our tests, the thing that the test is doing is that it's navigating to the profile and verifying this username. And then it's logging out. That's what we are doing here. We are finding the username, and then we are using the assertions of JUnit. Again, there is a dedicated video about the assertions. We are getting the text, and then we are asserting the username, and then we are logging out. Now, the second thing that I want to show you is how this remember me functionality is working. If we return, and here if we type the username and the password, etc., and click remember me, a special cookie, that it's not session cookie but permanent cookie. The permanent cookies are saved on our hard drive, and this means that the next time when we close the browser and open it again, we will continue to be logged in. This is the purpose of the remember me button. And how we can automate that? Well, with WebDriver it's a little bit tricky, because every time when you create a new session, this new session is cleared of all of the previous cookies, the cache and everything. This means that you cannot really test the remember me. Let me show you what I mean. So here, if we log in, right now I'm not logging with the remember me, but if I'm logging with the remember me, let's test that. Actually, let's log out. And now I'm going to log in with this demo account here. And I'm going to click all of them, both, okay. As you can see, full-fledged Maybe I haven't done it well. All right, this should be done. Fine. Clicking login. Okay. And as you can see now with the remember me instead of session here, if I scroll it a little bit, you will notice that now this cookie connect SID, now it's not session, meaning that if we close the browser, it will still be there the next time when I open the same browser. And this is the thing we require in order to test the remember me. So how we can automate that? Again, the login procedure is absolutely the same. So we navigate to the website, we click the login tab, we type the same user. Now we check the remember me checkbox. Again, you have multiple scenarios here. For example, you need to check it. You have at least two, right? If you check it and then if you haven't checked it, but also it depends how your authentication is working. For example, if you have single sign-on using the services of Google, Facebook, or others, you need again to check the remember me. And yeah, there are many cases here that you need to think of. But the important part is that when we bypass the CAPTCHA and click the login button, and when we check the username that it's the one that we need, in order to be able to test the remember me and that it's working, we collect all of the cookies using the driver manage get cookies. If you're not familiar how to use with cookies, again, there is a dedicated video on the Lantis YouTube channel about it that I have recorded before. I suggest to check it. Then we quit. Again, when you call driver quit, this means that the browser and the session will be closed. Next time when you start this, there will be no cookies, but we have saved them here in this variable. So we start again the Chrome, we navigate again. In order to set any cookies, you need to be to open first the website. So we're open it, and then we are for reaching this collection here, the original cookies that we get, and we are using driver manage add cookie to add all of these cookies from the previous session to the new one, and we navigate to the profile. If if there was a problem with the cookies and with the remember me cookie in particular, we won't be able to navigate to the profile, but we will be redirected to the main page. And so this is how we reinitialize the cookies, we navigate, that's all. Perfect. So let's continue. The next case that I want to show you is with how we can update the user profile. What I mean here is, for example, when you are here and when we want to update the username, the email address, as you know, we have different validations. For example, what is correct email or what is correct phone. Let's see them. These validations are part of the registration from the front end, but also for the profile as well. So as you can see here, for the username, we have a special regex expression with basically this says that we can have the username can be between 4 and 16 symbols. Then we have a special regex expression for the email, and so on and so forth, right? And the password can be between 8 and 32 symbols. But we also require one big letter and one small letter besides the symbols. So we have many cases here regarding the registration, but also about the profile. And if we are always working with one particular user, this will be a problem. Because especially if you want to run your tests in parallel, we need a way how we can run this test in parallel, right? In order to support that, the suggested approach is to have a web API or using the database to create those users. And this is exactly what I did. In the server, we have a special endpoint called createTestUser. And when we create a post request against this createTestUser endpoint, we can provide the username, the email, the password, the phone, and the status. We are going to extract them from the JSON body. And then we're going to register the user. That's all. And here in the end, we are pushing it to our local database, and we are returning it as a response. It's important to read the response, since this user ID, it's important for us. If you remember here with the cookies, in the next phase, we will want to log in faster with cookies. And as you can see, one of the cookies that we require is this user ID. So in our tests, the thing that I did is in the main folder Java, not the test, but the main one, I created a factory. A factory is a design pattern for creating different things. So as you know, factories are producing things. So this is why, this is from where the name of the pattern comes. And here in this special class test user factory, I'm using two new libraries that are quite popular. The first one to create different web requests is called REST Assured. This is one of the most popular testing libraries. In order to install it, the thing that I did here is that basically I added here a dependency to it in our Maven POM XML to the latest version. Rest assured, that's all. You can search it in the Maven repository. The second important dependency that you need, if you watched some of my videos on the channel, you know that I'm a fan of this project 𝑨𝒏𝒐𝒏. This project 𝑨𝒏𝒏𝒏, the thing that it gives you is that in order to support this registration of test users, we need a model class. This model class basically represents the JSON of the body, where we need to provide the username, the email, the password, the phone. It's just a really simple Java object. So one way to, we need setters, getters, the constructor. So one way to generate that is if you press Alt Insert. As you can see, we can generate different getters and setters for all of this. But as you can see, the class now gets too long. We can generate the same way the constructor. But instead of doing that, we can add dependency to an import statement to 𝑨𝒏𝒏𝒏. And 𝑨𝒏𝒏𝒏 gives you this data annotation. And this data annotation will instruct the compiler during compile time. It will generate all of the getters, the setters, and the constructors for you. So it's really excellent. And then if we return to our user factory, you will notice that we have one more in these methods here: generate username, generate password, generate phone number. I'm using here a special object called faker. This faker here, I initialize it here as a static variable. This is a library called Java Faker. Java Faker is a really popular library for creating random test data. It gives you a lot of methods, for example, generating a random email, random phone, etc. with particular rules. It's really popular in unit testing, but we can use it also for end-to-end and system tests. So I'm using it a lot here in the test users factory for generating the password. In order to generate the password, in order to be a valid password, we're generating 10 characters. But if you, just generate 10 characters, many often this won't be a valid password because we require a small and a capital letter. And this is why I always add them here at the end. The same is valid for the username. We require to have the first name, and then we have 5 digits, and then we are replacing them, some of them that are not correct. And for the phone number, we are saying here that the phone number needs to be 10 digits. And when, in order this to work, the thing that I do is that I have this static method called createTestUser, and we are providing the username, the email, the password, the phone, and the status. We're using the setters. Then, in order to make the post request, we call this rest assured class, and it gives us this method use relax HTTPS validation. This means that if our HTTPS certificate, as in our case, if it's not valid, we are going to ignore those errors. Then we are going to set the base URI, which in our case, this is 𝑨𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏 on the 3000 port. Then we need to set whether we need XML or JSON. In our case, this is JSON. We set the body. And the body, rest assured, is really smart because basically it's going to serialize and deserialize these Java objects to JSON automatically for us. So basically, when we initialize this test user, it's going to convert it to JSON and provide it to the body of the request. And then we say, please make a post request against this particular endpoint and extract the response. And then we are converting using this S method to a test user again. We're doing that in order to get the user ID. Now I created one more method that basically here we are generating the username, the email with faker, and generating the password and the phone number using our private methods, and we are providing all of the data. Instead of every time, to call all of those separately in our tests. But beneath that, we're calling the method that I showed you before. So now, when we have this user, it's really simple. Basically, we have many scenarios where using boundary value analysis, we can check the validations, but also the happy paths. Here, regarding all of the fields, we can click update and see what will happen. So let me show you how this works. If we return to our tests, let me collapse this particular one. First, we are creating here the test user using the test user factory create default. Then we navigate to the 𝑨𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏.local. We log in. This is the same thing that we have from the previous test. Again, here, just to simplify all of the tests, I have repeated everything every time, but in practice, you're going to use, for example, the page object design pattern and other patterns to reuse the code. Now, for simplicity, I have repeated every time. You can, again, there are dedicated videos on the channel about the page object design pattern. Then we are checking the username, and here we're finding the different edit profile fields. And we can, for example, here clear the previous username and set a new one. Then we're going to click the update button. We're going to log out. We're going to log in again, but with the new username, and see whether this succeeded or not. And then we're going to check that the new username is displayed on the profile page. That's all. And we can again repeat the same thing regarding each of the fields. There is this special rule when we create automated tests when you don't want to, it's called bug masking, which means that if you're testing one validation, it's good to have one test for one of the validations, then another one for the next validation, and so forth. Otherwise, especially if it's a general error message, you might not see all of the problems there. Now, let's move on and see how we can reset a password successfully. We're going to use this time a special method called create default with real email this time. What does it mean with real email? If you have watched some of my videos about email testing or passwordless login, I have showed you that there are particular services, third-party services like 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝒐𝒏, for example, or TestMu. And these services, they allow you to install special libraries. In our case, I installed here somewhere the dependency for 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝒏. Let me see where it is. Yeah, here it is. This is the dependency for this third-party email service. And the thing that it allows us to do is that we can create unique inboxes for every particular test or unique email, and we can use them later in our test to extract the activation code or the reset link, etc. And in order not to repeat this complex code that I got from their documentation, I wrapped this in a special service class called 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝒏. Again, this is available freely in their documentation. Basically, it's just modified a little bit. The only thing that you need is to get your 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝒏 key. I have set it as environmental variable for security reasons. You can do the same. There is a free version, and then if you have many tests, of course, it's paid service. Then in the static constructor, I'm again just using their documentation. I'm installing this default client and the inbox API. And the only thing that I have here is that I have a special method create inbox, calling their inbox controller API. Of course, there are many fine tunings, but as you can see, I'm using all of the defaults. And then I'm returning the inbox. Then we have just only one more method that is really important. It's for waiting for particular email to be received. So we are initializing every time this wait for controller API that comes from their dependency, and we wait for the latest email from this particular inbox ID that we're providing here, and we're setting a particular datetime interval to check. So in order this to work, here is what we do. I have created additional new method, not with fake email, but with real email. And the thing that we do here is that this is the important method. We provide all of the usernames, the password, the phone, and the status, but we are not providing the email because we are generating the email every time using the 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝒏 service. So we set the username, we set the email. We are getting the email address from the new inbox here. As you can see here, we're creating the 𝐕𝐢𝐝 create inbox. So we are setting the username, the email. We are setting the password, the status, and we are using the same, basically the same thing every time. However, I added a particular variable to the inbox so that we can use it later if we need to wait for the email. So we're setting here the inbox. And if we return, we create this test user with real email. We already registered the same way. Then we navigate to our website, and if I need to explain how this works is if we go here, we can type the email address, request a reset, password reset. Then we are going to receive a special URL that we need to extract from the email. And then we need here to click next on the reset password and set the new password, reset it, and then we need to try to log in and see what's going on. So how this works, we create the user with a new real email, we navigate, we click the, not the activate, but the request password. There is a type of request reset tab. Then we set the real email in the input, and we click the request password reset button. Now, as you can see here, we provided that we need to wait for an email that was sent the previous 30 seconds. And we provide from the test user, we get the user inbox that we set during the registration process with the API. And we call this wait for latest email. This thing will wait until the email is received, depending on your test environment. Maybe you need to wait a little bit longer, but we will receive at some point the email. And I have created a private method where we provide the body as a string, the body of the email. And the thing that we're doing here is that this is not activation URL, but reset URL. So this reset URL, the thing that it will do is that with this regex expression pattern, it will extract the URL and we are going to return it. And then when we have, this reset URL, we're going to navigate to it. We're going to click on the reset tab. Then we're going to set the new password. We are going to reset the password, and then we're going to try to log in the same way that we did before. But again, this is the proper way how we integrate two things: how we can work with emails, and then how we can work with this test API for creating users. If we need to log in a little bit faster, again, we can use this new method that we created for creating a real email. And if you remember, I showed you that when we are logged in, we have these cookies here. And actually, if we manage to, even when we have a new user, we still don't know the value of this authentication cookie, right? This hash here. So we need a way to generate the hash. And when we have the hash, we can generate this authentication cookie and the user ID, and then we will be automatically logged in. So in order to support that, I created this auth bypass service, and we have generate auth cookie method. And as you can see, we are providing the username, the password, and the user ID. Based on these three things, we're generating the authentication cookie. And using the add cookie methods, we can set the authentication hash, the user ID, and then we can navigate directly to the profile. But the interesting part here is actually how we generate the authentication cookie. Again, we use rest assured, and in order to support that, I have created in my server, I created this generate authentication cookie endpoint. Let's see how this works. Here is the endpoint. When we create a post request against this generate authentication cookie, again, we need to provide the username, the password, and the user ID. Based on it, we have this payload object, and we have basically this generate hash function that we use this crypto something method for generating the hash. As you can see, we generated and converted to hex. This is behind the scenes what's going on. And then we set this authentication cookie to the response, setting the particular hash that we generated. And the thing that we do here is exactly this. Basically, using our base URI, which is 𝑨𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏 we provide as a JSON object or a map the display name, the password, the user ID. We create a post request, again, this generate auth cookie. And then we're checking the status code. And in rest assured, we have this special get detailed cookie method that basically we are extracting the auth cookie and its value, and we are returning it. And this is how this works. So basically, first we create the test user that it's active. We navigate to the website. We provide the username, the password, and the ID of this test user. And this auth bypass service is making a post request to our server, is generating this hash for the auth cookie. We are setting the auth cookie using driver ManyChat cookie and the user ID, and then we can bypass the login. Of course, this can be vary as an implementation depending how your login and authentication works. But generally, this is the common way for speeding up the authentication process. And we have two more things that I want to show you. The first thing is how we can really quick register a new user from the regular form here. So it's, on most interviews, you're going to be asked about such cases. So here we have, the username, the email, the phone, the password, the confirm password. There are many cases here regarding boundary value analysis and others that you need to do. But when you click the register button, you are going to receive a special activation code. So again, we can use the mail swap service to extract the code, provide it here, activate the user. Before that, we won't be able to log in, so we need to test that before activating, we cannot do it. And then we will check the profile. So let's review really quick. Again, we create this test user DTO. This time I'm not creating a real user or registering it, but I'm just creating, with the real email. I'm generating the username, the password, the phone, but I'm not calling the API with the rest assured, but I'm just returning this test user object. And then I'm finding all the different fields, I'm filling them. If you need to test a particular validation, for example, for the username, then you're going to change just the username of this test user, right? And then, or the phone or whatever, and check the validation. But again, it's really important to check just one validation at a time. Otherwise, you won't be sure that some particular bug haven't been missed. When we click the register button, the important thing here is that when we click on the activation tab, we call again the mail swap, wait for the latest email. And basically we call this extract activation code. The pattern here is just a little bit different from the previous one. We are not extracting a URL, but just this particular digits code. And then we are returning it. When we return that, when we return that, we are going to enter the code in the activation code input, click activate button, and then we're going to try to log in. Again, there are many other cases here. You can see just a few of them. We can register with correct input. We can register with different mismatched passwords. We can register with existing username or email. Username below the minimum, above the maximum, etc., etc. There are many different cases here. I have listed just a few of them, but there are many cases that you want to check. And the last thing that I want to show you is actually how to bypass two-factor authentication. What is the two-factor authentication? If we go to the profile, probably you have used at some point Google Authenticator. Here I have integrated this into our login. If we went to the profile and we set up this for our test user. Really quick, what is the two-factor authentication? This is always abbreviated 2FA. This is an extra layer of security used to ensure that people trying to gain access to an online account are who they say they are. First, the user will enter their username and a password, and then instead of immediately gaining access, we need to provide another piece of information. This second factor could be something like additional password or answer to a question like what is your first pet name, or a personal identification number or code. It might be something that you have like a physical device, smartphone, notification, security token, or a smart card, or might be something you are. This usually includes biometrics like fingerprints, retina scans, voice recognition. Many often we have this SMS-based 2FA. Basically, you're going to receive a code on your phone, and this is one-time code, and you need to enter it. or maybe it might be an app like Google Authenticator that generates a time-based one-time passcodes that you need to enter here. And this is actually the thing that I want to demonstrate. I have extended the create test endpoint for be able to create users, but create test user, but directly with activated 2FA. The thing that we do here is the only difference is that we have this 2FA object that we have generated this secret with this special library 𝑨𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏. I have installed it as a Node.js dependency, and we said that our 2FA is enabled. Then the next thing that we require is that we need an endpoint to generate those one-time passcodes for us with a post request. And this is exactly what I did. Here, when we do a GET request against this 2FA generate token, our user ID, we need to provide only the user ID from the parameters here. And then we're going to find this user, and if it has this 2FA secret, we're going to generate this passcode automatically. And this is exactly what I did. With this login successfully bypass, I'm creating, but this time, a test user with 2FA enabled. As you can see here, I'm calling the other endpoint with 2FA enabled. And then, again, I'm typing the email, the password, the remember me, we're bypassing the CAPTCHA. And then at this particular point, if we debug our test, you will see that this time the website will require from us one-time time-based code of Google. Wait a bit. And let's see what's going on. As you can see, we have this 𝑣𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏 test email for our user, and now we require 2FA token. Again, in order to enter the 2FA token, if we return, as you can see, the test passed. The thing that we did here is that in our auth bypass service, I created this generate 2FA token, and we provide the user ID. And the thing, probably you guess what we did, is that we are making a GET request against this 2FA generate token, providing the user ID, and this will return in the body our code. So the thing that I do here is that I'm finding the input for this one-time code, I'm entering it, and then the rest of the test is the same. But this is how we bypass the login. Of course, in order to test this, the QR code for configuring the service, etc., it's more complicated. It might depend on the 2FA service that you're using, but still, this is still possible, like we did with the CAPTCHA. So let's wrap up. Thank you for watching. We checked many different cases that are really important for mastering the testing of any authentication mechanism, from bypassing the CAPTCHA, how to automate the remember me, how we can faster login with cookies, how to register users with Test Web API, how we can use these third-party services for handling the emails, like, for example, activating or resetting a password, and how to bypass the 2FA. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Also, check the Lambda test blog for any detailed articles that are published each week. And don't forget to get your free certification about JUnit and Selenium. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.